Fu here in our studio. For more on the serious debate, though, we're joined by Professor Teng at the American Studies Center at Beijing Foreign Studies University. Professor Teng, thanks very much for being with us. You, of course, have lots of young students in your class. You've taught many of them over the years. And when you think about this story, do you really think it's appropriate, not just for the Shanghai Metro, but for any metro station, to say to women, you need to dress more appropriately? Let's start with that part.
Well, I think it's yes and no, but first thing first is no. I think nobody, no authorities in this very country, I mean, basically, it's still a country rule of law, can tell people that you must dress this way or that way. I think it's very, very inappropriate to tell women to dress properly.
The danger, though, surely has to be that once you do say that, you're also sending out a message that somehow that if you dress in a certain way, you're almost asking to be treated in a certain way. I mean, how dangerous is that in a society like this?
Well, I think it's really a verge on this kind of ridiculousness in terms of telling people the way that you have to dress. I think they are playing God, and I think it's very wrong. I think it's also unconstitutional. It's very illegal. I mean, it's basically the bizarre incident, and also this very message is adding insults to injury. I mean, basically is about victimizing this group of people by simply of the people of the opposite sex. And I think that no discrimination should be actually built upon that very kind of a bizarre incident. I think first thing first that we have to know that nobody can play God and tell us what is supposed to be appropriate dressing on the subway. I mean, for women, for men, and they can dress the way they like. I mean, even for these scantily dressed women, I mean, basically, you have no rights to harass them. I mean, it's their rights, it's their integrity, it's their autonomy, and nobody's just supposed to be violated. And so one thing that I'd like to address at this very point is that sexual harassment, inappropriate conduct on the subway is basically a violation of that very individual's personal rights, and also a violation of that person's integrity and autonomy.
Well, it's incredible that a subway group has, in your words, decided to play God and self-appoint themselves as educators. Quickly, though, is there any experience that we can learn from abroad? We heard there from one anti-violence spokesperson that, for example, women could stand in areas which are monitored by cameras. Are there other ways that we could learn from other large cities, other urban planners around the world?
Well, James, honestly, I've been spending like almost a year in New York City from 1999 to 2000. And I've been a frequent commuter on the train. I've been commuting from Brooklyn to Manhattan and from Queens to Manhattan. I take forever trains and all these subways. And I find that, I mean, several things which can be very beneficial in terms of Chinese authorities to learn. For example, more police presence, including undercover police presence. And sometimes you even send subway or metro kind of inspectors out there, I mean, to patrol basically the stations, the cars. And secondly, once again, I would like to remind the people all, I mean, basically all passengers on the subway or commute by subway, that you have to dress basically, well, no, I mean, people have to be aware that decent dressing, I mean, is basically a decent behavior.
Well, that's what they said. Yes, they talked about the courtesy. But I think we're talking about two different things, as you yourself have said there. I just got one idea, and I just wanted your response to this personal idea. For the subway company, instead of educating women on how to dress, what about they educate men not to touch women in the first place?
Well, that was also kind of really presumptuous, I believe. I mean, you can't tell, you can't educate. But one thing I do think you need is that you have to be very self-awareness, self-consciousness, that you are a responsible citizen. You have to behave that way, because you are supposed to be respectful, not to be disrespectful, because in that very subway car you have women, you have men, you have children, you have people of all different backgrounds. You have to respect people. I mean, this is the very bottom line. Be respectful.
That's a very, very, very powerful word. Thank you very much, Professor Teng here in our studio.